Alright, what up, y'all? It's Metaphor back for more to kick the raw. Represent everyone's you and I verse. Alright, so we're gonna do a video on Mercury and Gemini, right? So with this being said, let me know how your day going. Let me know what's new in your realm of reality. You see what I'm saying? Let me know if you got this natally in your chart. And let me know how it influences you. And let me know how influences amongst this Gemini energy, as in your moon sign, how it affects it, things like that. And this is all about, this video right here, all about Mercury and Gemini, so right? Let me know how how your Mercury alignment is and how it actually plays out and things like that with the current Mercury alignment we have. You see what I'm saying? And the Mercury is not in Gemini right now, but I'm just going to keep on building on my playlist until I get to the point where Mercury is right now. See what I'm saying? I'm going to put that in the back seat, you know what I'm saying? My Mercury playlist, but we're going to get back into it because I just felt like it today, right? So with this being said, Mercury is all about thinking, communicating, and essentially logistics, right? So like kind of rationalizing. And Mercury's in the mythology, it's the quick guy, you know what I'm saying? He's like Hermes. So I'm saying it's like Flash. So it does things very quickly, right? So with all this being said, this Gemini energy is the two-sided sigil, right? So it can see two different ways, but also see the objectivity within it as well. See what I'm saying? And with this being said, this is able to think and communicate on both sides of the spectrum. Able to communicate what one personally thinks and then also what the collective thinks. And with this being said, being able to communicate what the collective is thinking, this air energy is something that Libra has and also Aquarius. So with this being said, the Gemini energy is able to adapt because it's the mutable air. It's able to adapt and relate to its environment. So Gemini is like the environment sign, you see what I'm saying, based on it being an adaptation to whatever is in the actual environment that's playing out. So with all this being said, the Mercury being in Gemini, right, is all about having this two-sided sigil, right? So you can see both ways of how to think and communicate. But while you're seeing both sides of thinking and communicating, sometimes you could get stuck in a different thought and not able to actually tap into this realm of reality at the precise time. So this is about, like, for example, if the Gemini is stuck in their head about something, or having, like, I don't know how to exactly explain it, but it's like a surge of thoughts all at once, and you can't actually stick on one thought. So Gemini has a focus issue. So if you have a Mercury in Gemini, you have to be able to focus your thinking and communicating. And once you're able to focus on what you actually want to think and communicate about, then boom, you have this Gemini energy and a pretty, pretty good, like you can utilize it as a tool, you see what I'm saying? So with all this being said, Mercury being about this fast thinking, communicating, and it being in Gemini, since Gemini is an air sign, it's a fast sign anyways, so you're able to adapt to the ways that others are thinking and communicating, and you're also able to adapt in a two-sided way. So with all this being said, sometimes though, you could be looked at as the devil's advocate too much. Sometimes people can see you as this individual always has something to say about the circumstance that we're in. So if you can harness that, there we go, if you can harness that energy, then you're able to actually utilize this Gemini energy in a positive facet, right? So with that being said as well, I'm gonna keep on building on this playlist throughout Mercury, right? And you'll be able to actually look at your Mercury sign, and then you'll be able to look at your rising sign and everything like that, and be able to say, oh, okay, this is how my chart actually plays out, and this is how it aligns to other things like that. I'm experiencing a different little space right now, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to try something different, you see what I'm saying? Be in the back of the back, but in a different kind of way, you feel me? But yeah, that's left field of this video. But with this being said, Mercury is the individual that, like, is flying around and able to do things that, you know, people weren't able to actually complete very fast, you know what I'm saying? So like, for example, when Hermes was born, he made the heart for Apollo out of circumstances whenever he was just coming back from being birthed. So it's like the Gemini energy has an innate ability to be able to do something that very quickly, and also something that people really haven't seen in that fast of a way of doing it. For example, like Mars is the one that wants to do everything first, But Mercury is the one that is like seeing Mars into the, oh, okay, I could do this and I could do it a little bit quicker, but there's certain things that I can't do that Mars can do. You see what I'm saying? Based on Mars being intent, passion, and putting a lot of energy into something. So like the Mercury energy is more about the intellect and thinking about it, right? So that'd be the difference between having a Mars in Gemini and a Mercury in Gemini. It would be that intent and passionate way of going about one thing two different ways. That'd be the Mars, but the Mercury is thinking about things two different ways and be able to see both sides of the circumstance. So I'm saying, like, people say there's two sides to every story, but really, in my opinion, there's three sides based on me being a Gemini moon. It's just how it is. So yeah. With this being said, Mercury is the planet of thinking, communicating, and also it's the fast planet. You see what I'm saying? So based on think about it this way: if you know somebody that has a Mercury in Gemini and you're Mercury in Sagittarius, you're going to be that opposition. So you're always going to be trying to think and communicate about knowledge and wisdom, but they're going to be trying to see the two sides of the knowledge and wisdom that you're presenting. So that's where that opposition can kind of play with you. See what I'm saying? So like if you're a cross watcher and you're not a Gemini and Mercury and Gemini, then you can say, oh, okay, this is how I align to this Gemini energy. And this is the reason why the Gemini energy plays out the way it does. See what I'm saying? So like if you had the Mercury in Virgo, that'd be a square. If you had the Mercury in Pisces, that'd also be a square. Like I say, the Mercury in Sag, that'd be the opposition because they're all mutable signs. And then with this being said, you look at the fixed sign Leo or the cardinal sign Aries, and they're both able to see the opportunities with both fire signs if you're that Gemini, Mercury and Gemini, because you're able to see, okay, Aries wants to do something first, but I can, show them how to do something first more quickly. And then with the Leo, I can show them how to be on the stage and actually make their message sound correct, make them sound real logical, make them sound intellectual. So think about it this way: if you had a Leo sun, let's put it this way: you have a Cancer sun, okay, but you had a Mercury in Gemini, and then your Mars was in Leo, right? And then you had maybe a Jupiter in Aries. You'd be able to see, okay, I can have knowledge and wisdom about my way of being in intent and having my own intent, right? And then with the Jupiter energy in Aries, you'd be able to see the knowledge of wisdom and the experience, and able to see both sides of the experience. So that's where Gemini could work out well. But on the opposition side, with that Sagittarius energy, it can kind of play things out differently. But like I said, this is all about Mercury and Gemini. So whenever you have this Mercury and Gemini energy, the real message I'm trying to get across to you is that you got to have this focus. So if you can focus on your thought that you want to actually communicate about, word up. Taurus, Sun, Gemini, Mercury, and Jupiter and Taurus, word up. That's what's up. But with all this being said, like I say, the Mercury energy in Gemini is all about having this focus about this thought or logistic or practicality. Once you have this actual focus upon this thought, then boom, you're able to actually see both sides of it and actually play it out and execute what you want to have executed based on what you're thinking about. So you won't get thrown off or put left field. So with this Gemini energy, it's all about seeing the other side to it whenever it's necessary, but also knowing that you have your own way of communicating and thinking in general. Word up, Mars and Sag, for sure. Mercury's in the 7th house of Aries, for sure. Yeah, word up. Salute to everybody in the chat, you know what I'm saying? But with all this being said, let me break it down in a whole different way right now. So you look at, if you had like your Pluto in Sag, right, and you had the Mercury in Gemini, it would be this opposition to your ways of extreme change. So with all this being said, if you have this extreme change going on in your life all the time, you're not able to actually communicate about both sides of it based on it being always shot out of the sky, so to speak. And whenever you try to actually communicate things, you're always shot out of the sky because it's like, oh, this is a transformative thing you're talking about, and this, that, and the third. This is how you can actually look at your chart and say, oh, dang, once I gain control over this certain aspect of opposition, or this certain square aspect, this way of learning, or this way of being opposite to other individuals, how do I actually play out this rejection, and how do I work with the energy? So it's all about like riding the wave, so to speak, or working with the energy instead of working against it. So you have to just be aware of where you are in the universe and how you affect things based on that. So like, for example, to go left field, For sure, for sure. Yeah, salute everybody in the live chat, you know what I'm saying? But to go left field, look at the Gemini energy to this Capricorn sun, right? It's a misunderstanding, if I'm not mistaken. Let me think. You got 11, 12, 1, 2. Yeah, this 5 times 3 is 150. Such a misunderstanding and in conjunction between Gemini and Capricorn. So the Gemini always misunderstands how to go about being practical and logistical. And like I'm saying, it goes hand in hand with the focus thing. And also, with this being said, at this current point in time, if you have a Mercury in Gemini, you look at the Mercury right now, if I'm not mistaken, it's in Sag, which is, like I say, in opposition to you being that Mercury in Gemini. And then we also have, I think it's, the Neptune is in Pisces as well. So when those two things square each other, so you got to be able to see both sides. Like, what do you want to appeal to? Do you want to learn more about your way of communicating, or do you want to learn more about your dreams, illusions, and nightmares based on the Neptune energy? Well, they didn't really change it, Magical Mermaid. They didn't change the Scorpio energy. It's like Scorpio energy always been just birth from the 8th house. So think about it that way. The 8th house is transformation behind the scenes and secrets. So whatever energy that you can actually accumulate from that. The Scorpion was just a depiction that they came out from the 8th house area of life. And they had said, okay, it's a Scorpio. But now we have these movies like Scorpion King. It's also Scorpio energy and things like that. You could even look at like things that are underwater, like the bottom feeders and things like that. That's kind of some Scorpion energy, just being hidden and then being able to come up whenever they need to, for the right kind of circumstance and their passion, things like that. But to wrap it all up, Mercury in Gemini, like I say, is being able to see both sides, being able to adapt to the environment that they're in, and communicate about that adaptation essentially. And that's what the Gemini generally has going on. Saying, oh yeah, that's a fact. It's fixed water. Yep. I be mentioning that all the time. You know what I'm saying? I be feeling like y'all already know that. You know what I'm saying? Just to give the full breakdown, Scorpio is the fixed water, is ruled by Mars, co-ruled by Pluto. You know what I'm saying? And with this being said, it's all about transformation, rebirth, and like you say, that Phoenix energy. So these are just different depictions from that 8th house circumstance. It's like that 8th house is between the 7th and the 9th house. So between your relation and your way of seeing the knowledge and wisdom, you have to transform in a certain kind of way. And that's why that water's fixed. It's just like once the ice get broken, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it this way. Like, the water is having 3 different modalities. You got your fixed, you got your cardinal, and you got your mutable, right? And you got Pisces being the mutable one. You know what I'm saying? That's the water that flows very evenly and like what's his name? Bruce Lee be saying, move like water, my friend. You know what I'm saying? That's the Pisces energy. You know what I'm saying? The Scorpio energy is like Antarctica, you know what I'm saying? Or what, pardon me, not Antarctica. What did the Titanic, you know what I'm saying? The Titanic ran into the big old iceberg. Titanic, like Leo energy, that they was big and balling, thought they was something special, and then boom, they got hit with the ice block, you know what I'm saying? Scorpio energy. They got transformed, you feel me? And then the Cancer energy is like being on the beach. Like being on the beach and having that, that little, like like the crab, I could live in the water, I could live on the little sand, you know what I'm saying? Whatever circumstances necessary and things like that. The crabs actually be living underneath the sand and things like that, be having their babies in the sand, things, you know what I'm saying? So one of the things. But yeah, like I say, wrapping it up, Mercury and Gemini, two-sided energy, being able to think and communicate about the adaptation that's occurring. And that's essentially what goes on with the Gemini energy. They're just able to communicate what's actually changing at that point in time, and what they're adapting to and what's being adapted to based on the environment they're in. So that's why they're able to describe the environment the way they're able to describe it, things like that. And that's also why the Gemini energy is like lingering, essentially. It's a lingering energy because nobody can communicate like the Gemini can. And so like you have this ability to communicate based on the Gemini being at home in Mercury, you know what I'm saying? Mercury being at home in Gemini, I mean to say. So it's a good placement for you, you know what I'm saying, if you got this. So much love, holla back, you know what I'm saying? If you're looking for a reading, you can holla back at me at conscious1347@gmail.com. And that's conscious1347@gmail.com. And you could email me for the details and things like that. But yeah, much love. Have a good one, y'all. Holla back at me. I'm going to do some more videos here soon, you know what I'm saying?